My second pet peeve when it comes to podcast audio quality is audio that jumps around in volume. So picture this. Have you ever been in your car, you're listening to a podcast and you find yourself constantly turning the volume up or down because the dialogue might be too quiet, and then the next second it jumps up and it's super loud? You know, if maybe one of the hosts or guests just all of a sudden talks very loudly, it's way louder than the rest of the audio. That can get kind of annoying, and that's because there's too much variance in the loudest and the quietest parts of the dialogue. So to fix this, what you need to do is use an effect called a single band compressor. And this is going to boost the quiet audio and tone down the loud audio. So think of like peaks and valleys. If your audio recording is, there's a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys, what you want to do is bring those peaks down a little bit, bring the valleys up so that there's not as much variation in the volume of your audio. So once again, let's go back into Audition here and I will show you how this works and apply it to our test clip. Okay, so we're back here with our test clip. We've already applied the parametric EQ. Now it's time to apply our single band compressor. What you want to notice first with your audio, and this is how you kind of know if you need to use a single band compressor. Like right here, I've got some audio that peaks a little bit higher than kind of the general average here. There's another little peak here, and there's one here as well. And the goal is to make that a little bit more consistent across the board, again, so you don't have big jumps in volume as you're listening through. So what I want to do is go into Effects. I'm going to go to Amplitude and Compression, Single Band Compression. It's going to bring up this little window here. Now, again, if you want to be lazy, you can kind of go down and choose the voice leveler preset. There is one value in it that you would want to switch there, but that's kind of a good starting point. I'm just going to start with the values that we have. So the first thing that you want to do is kind of play through your audio and keep an eye on your levels and find sort of an average peak. Find where your audio kind of peaks on average. So I'll show you what I mean here. So we're going to play some of this back and we're going to keep an eye on the levels bar here. Welcome to the Creative Control Room podcast, episode number 110. I'm your operator, Ryan Hafey, and today I'm going to reveal my pet peeves when it comes to podcast audio. So to me, it looks like it's peaking probably around negative 11 decibels. So that's the value you want to put for threshold. So I'm going to change that from negative 10 to negative 11. Ratio, I typically like to keep at 3.5 by 1, attack 0, release at 100 milliseconds. And then if your audio across the board is pretty low in volume, you may want to apply some output gain. In this case, I'm going to hold off on doing that in this step. We'll actually do that in the next step. So let's go ahead and apply this. Keep an eye on these waveforms and then watch how they change as we apply this effect. See how these peaks now have dropped down, this one over here as well, and everything's just a little bit more even across the board. So let's go ahead and play this back. Welcome to the Creative Control Room podcast, episode number 110. I'm your operator, Ryan Hafey. So you can hear how it's a little bit more even across the board. You don't want to go too heavy on this. You still want there to be some variation because that sounds more natural than just one set volume across the board. But it is going to help, again, with cooling down those peaks and those valleys.